Hey everyone. So I did a reading on a controversial subject today. That is the injections that people are getting. And I don't want to actually say the word because of the terms and conditions of YouTube, which may censor this video because it's so controversial. And, it's the controversial injection that everybody is getting these days. And um, I'm not saying I'm for it or against it. I'm not picking any side here. I'm just going to tell you what came up for me. And first, I started off reading myself. Actually, I did this a while ago, a couple months ago, or something like that. And for me, what was coming up was the effect that it would have on me was similar to that of turning into Hulk, as weird as that is. Kind of gaining more mass and also more of this kind of fiery energy in some sense, which could be good and bad depending on how you look at it, if it's an imbalance or not. That's how Chinese medicine and Ayurveda would look at it, at least, and that's how I view it too. There's a balance. But I've also done a reading on it where I kind of saw it as like a monkey kind of type of energy that's kind of very reactive, fiery, if that makes any sense. And the way that I read things is through, usually symbols that mean things, like symbolically. That's usually how I get information. So those were the things that I was seeing in particular. I also got the sense, and I also want to say, I read it for other people, and other people have totally different reactions, and there are good and there are bad. Um, Before I move on, I just want to say that ultimately what I'm getting out of this is that it's similar to when you run up against a wall, and if you run up against a wall, two things can happen. You can either hit that wall, or you can develop some sort of ability to overcome it. And that can be a very positive thing, but it can also be a very negative thing for people who do not do that. So that's kind of what this Hulk thing was about, which is really funny because since then I've been working out more, ironically. Um, I did get I did get it because of the reading that I did on it, and I read and I was convinced from what I was reading that I would be okay. However, other people, I will say, I did see an image for the general public of some people, it going in, there being black energy where they got it, and this being a serious problem, and it was causing lethargy, like people losing their energy and just like having no kind of like will to push themselves in some sense. And it was as if it was making people very, very weak. And I saw this black energy go towards the heart and become like a heart blockage, which is definitely not good at all. And I saw, again, this is symbolic more than literal and more like on an energetic level, I guess you could say. It was like skeletons reaching up from down and like pulling them down where they got injected. And it was kind of like a very death like image. Although it doesn't necessarily mean death, it also just symbolically the death of their vitality. So I did see that happening as well. So what's interesting is I did a reading for someone that I know um, as well, and the reading that I got for them And by the way, this is specifically for the brand that starts with PF. I'm just gonna say that because I don't wanna, get the YouTube algorithms mad at me. But anyways, that specific injection is what I was reading this for. The other ones may be even different from this. But that one in particular, and each individual is going to react differently. And so for this other person that I was reading, that I know, what I was getting for them was that it was causing, it was very contradictory, because at one point it was causing like this invigorating energy like in their heart center and just kind of like spiraling out, and it was like inspiration, and it was like moving to new heights, finding new ways of doing things, kind of progressing in life, and it was this amazing thing. Yet at the same time I also got this image of it causing them to sit down in a chair and become like zombie-like almost, and just like be very lethargic and kind of lose their care, lose their sense of caring about anything or having any sort of need to kind of defend themselves, if that makes any sense. And so when I put all this together and I was kind of asking for like an overall, like, why are there all these different things, I kind of explained this already, but it was like a wall, and it's like in alternative medicine, Chinese medicine specifically, they talk about how sometimes there can be a blockage, and or they call it energy that's not in movement. And the idea is that energy has to be in movement all the time. At least that's the Chinese idea of energy. And when it's stuck, it can, in some situations, turn into fire, because in a sense, like when you're trapped, like you're in a cage, that fire energy erupts and you're gonna start throwing a tantrum and trying to get out, because sometimes that fire energy is what does that. And so for me, what I was seeing, I tend to have that a lot already, so it kind of ignited like this Hulk-like type of energy, which can be channeled for the good, or for good use, I should say, but it can also be, excess, and can cause you to be more angry and, you know, monkey-like, I guess, because I was kind of seeing that too. But it all depends on the individual and kind of how you go about things. And I also know how to really balance things out with my diet and herbs and things like that, and even just my mental state to kind of balance these energies out. Whereas other people, some people may not even have the reserves to ignite that flame, to kind of overcome the obstacle, to overcome the blockage. And so if you don't have that internal reserve of energy to kind of spark that flame, then chances are that you may be more like the person who just has no positive reaction to it and just kind of like loses a lot of energy and just becomes lethargic and not energized, not enlivened, so to speak. So this is from an energy standpoint. I'm not trying to say that you should or shouldn't do anything. I read it for myself and I did what I did and it worked out for me, but I also see that it won't work out for everyone in a positive way. So keep that in mind. This is not me taking a side on the issue. Just want to be clear on that. So I hope that this maybe brought some, clarity to you. Another thing that's really important is, if you do feel like you are experiencing the negative end of it, you can really take care of yourself, drinking lots of water, and really kind of revitalizing yourself. Maybe taking herbs like ginseng, things of that nature that will kind of give you more of that energy. And just taking care of yourself physically is going to be very healing for that, at least to kind of counterbalance anything negative from it. So that is also just only the PF etc. brand, and so other ones I think could be different and probably not as great, I think. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. I hope I didn't offend anyone, and hit that notification bell and set it to all notifications so that you see all my videos. Thanks for watching and have a great day.